It's lovely to be here with you. You are the public intellectual who I admire the most. I don't think the internet is a good way to spread ideas. That the only way you can get ideas is from books.
Right.
But I will say that people spread your ideas by using the internet. And when you have friends on Facebook, as I do, I have been educating so many people that did not know about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, for instance.
Right.
By sending them articles.
If you really want to dissect political systems and how they operate, you have to read like Sheldon Wollin's Democracy Now! Or you have to read Chomsky. So, I mean, I was a journalist. I love news, and I love journalism, and I love reporting, and yet that can't be divorced from ideas. And I think that's what the point I was trying to make. So I didn't mean to slam the internet. I think the internet is extremely important. And at the same time, people have to read Marx's Capital if they're really going to understand how capitalism works. They have to read Bakunin, they have to read even Lenin if they're going to understand how the mechanisms of revolution works. They're not going to get that kind of detail and that kind of reflection ultimately off the internet.
Most people, because as you know, the public education system being controlled by corporations, even well-meaning supposed liberal philanthropists like Eli Broad and Bill Gates are trying to privatize education. That's an issue that I fight, but you know, people don't have the basics to even work in their corporate society, much less to be able to understand these ideas. They're cutting art, they're cutting music, all the things that you think that they should be learning. Don't you think before we can start getting, I mean, we don't have enough time to get them reading Marx and Bakunin and Kropotkin.
It doesn't matter. You know, you only need 1 to 5% of an educated, active population. You know, even in the civil rights movement in places like Selma, in terms of arrests, you were never talking more than 100 or 200 people. What you need is a kind of core that is politicized and that is willing to take personal risks in order to carry out acts of rebellion. I mean, you know, we know from historical studies, if you can mobilize 5% of a population, you can bring down almost any tyranny.
Well, let me point this out. Bill McKibben has done a great job of mobilizing people around the Keystone XL pipeline. Meanwhile, they've almost completed the southern leg of the pipeline. They've got all these other pipelines.
Right, but Bill McKibben, who I admire very much, his strategy is to appeal to the Democratic Party. And I think that's a mistake. And so he's got 40,000 people surrounding the White House chanting, "We are your supporters."
Right.
And that's not the route that I would have taken.
All right, but when you tell people to get arrested over Keystone XL pipeline, I would say get arrested over fracking, because that's in far more country.
Yeah, no, fracking is, you know, also really important.
Okay. Question about your comment about Occupy and the Black Bloc.
Right.
Okay. I've been in Occupy for 2 years now, and they admired you so much until you made that comment. Then you just lost it. I tried to save it.
I know, but it doesn't. That's not my job as an intellectual to seek. As soon as I need the adulation of a group or a crowd fetish, it's my job to state unpleasant truths, which may very well anger people that I have a great deal of sympathy for. And, you know, that triggered a debate within Occupy about tactics, where I willingly became a lightning rod. People, you know, even people who may have supported what I said or were not Black Bloc could vilify me for what I said, but it opened the door. It allowed me to become, you know, the demonized figure, but open the door for discussion. And I think that I can't worry about whether people, if I start worrying about whether people like me or not, or whether people admire me, then I'm sort of finished as an intellectual.
That wasn't my point. My point was, could you concede that Black Bloc is not a group of people, it's a tactic, and in the case of Oakland, it was probably implemented by an infiltrator?
Well, yes, but I don't buy, I mean, I know that they have criticized me by saying that it's not a group, it's a tactic, but when you see 100 people all dressed the same, in black, marching en masse, that's a group. I mean, I care about the English language, and like Orwell, and I'm not going to have them tell me what a group is or isn't. That is, you know, by any definition, a group.
Final question. You say that civil disobedience is the only answer, and I agree with you. I am trying to get a very big anti-fracking movement in California to agree, instead of pleading for Jerry Brown to impose a moratorium on fracking when he's just taken $2.5 million from the oil companies, I'm saying we've got to chain ourselves to the oil derricks there in Inglewood where fracking is killing people.
You're right.
I'm not getting, and then I'm saying it's got to be middle-class people like me. It's not going to be occupiers who've already been arrested and are afraid to get arrested again because they'll go away for a long time.
Well, it's not going to be a very popular tactic, so you better take whoever you can get.
Right, but then what do you do? Because as I've been telling this to people, what they say, what's your theory of change? So we go off into jail, then what?
Well, you know, I'm not sure we have another option. I mean, I think that by carrying out an act of civil disobedience, even if it's a small minority, you hopefully trigger the conscience of all sorts of people who know that what you've done is right, but don't yet have the courage to do it. And I watched this in Eastern Europe, where you had Havel started Charter 77 in 1977. The Velvet Revolution didn't happen until 1989. And poor Havel, you know, with a tiny group of dissidents, was in and out of jail for years. And what he did was keep alive, in his own language, truth. And I think right now, that's our job.
Thank you very much.
Okay.